The static in the walls. The hum started on Tuesday, or maybe it was Monday. The clock on the wall stopped ticking, but I could still hear it, a frantic, metallic heartbeat under the floorboards. I haven't closed my eyes in 4 days, because the minute I do, the ceiling begins to lower, inching toward my face like a heavy concrete blanket. I have to stay awake to hold it up. I have to stay awake to watch the corners. There are people in the peripheral of my vision, thin as smoke and tall as trees. They don't have faces, just hollow spaces, where features should be. Every time I turn my head, they dart behind the wardrobe or slip into the closet. They are whispering about the spark inside me, the one they want to steal. My heart is a hummingbird, trapped in a ribcage of glass. Claire came over at sunset. At least I think it was Claire. She looked like her, but her skin was shimmering with a strange, oily film, and her eyes were too wide, reflecting colors that don't exist in this world. She tried to hand me a glass of water, but I saw the tiny, microscopic gears grinding inside the liquid. She's one of them now. They've replaced her with a clockwork girl. "Elias, you need to sleep," she said, but her voice sounded like it was coming from the bottom of a deep, rusted well. The walls began to breathe then, pulsing in and out with a wet, rhythmic thud. I could see the electricity crawling behind the wallpaper like glowing yellow worms. They were converging on her, feeding her instructions. She wasn't Claire anymore. She was a transmitter. She reached out to touch my forehead, but her fingers looked like long, silver needles. I could hear the static screaming in the air between us. It was a warning. If she touched me, the circuit would complete, and I would vanish into the hum forever. I had to break the connection. I had to stop the transmission before the shadow man arrived to collect the pieces. I found the heavy brass lamp on the side table. It felt solid, the only thing in this flickering, melting world that had any weight. The shadow men were crowded in the hallway now, their eyeless faces pressed against the glass of the door, cheering. They wanted me to do it. They wanted the noise to stop just as much as I did. Claire screamed, but it wasn't a human sound. It was the sound of a siren, a high-pitched frequency designed to shatter my skull. She lunged for the lamp, her clockwork hands grasping for the brass. We struggled, and the world became a blur of jagged light and vibrating shadows. I pushed back with everything I had, trying to shove the static away from my heart. The sound of the glass breaking was the loudest thing I've ever heard. It sounded like 1,000 crystal bells shattering at once. Then, suddenly, the hum stopped. The breathing walls went still. The glowing worms behind the wallpaper flickered and died. Silence poured into the room like cold, black ink, drowning out the heartbeat under the floorboards. I sat on the floor and waited for her to get up, but she remained part of the stillness. The shadow men were gone. The room was just a room again, messy, dark, and smelling of stale sweat and chemical copper. My hands were stained with something dark, but I couldn't remember if it was oil or blood. I blinked, and for the first time in 5 days, my eyelids felt like lead. The red and blue lights began to dance against the curtains, rhythmic and steady. They weren't the shadow men. They were real. I closed my eyes, and finally, the ceiling came down to meet me. As the darkness took over, I realized the hum hadn't been in the walls at all. It had been inside me the whole time, and now, it was the only thing left.